This is Alex, and this is the first time he's trying breath hold training. In this video, I will tell you how I told him to prepare for the training, exactly what training we did, and you'll see how much he was able to improve with just 20 minutes of training and the knowledge of what happens to the body during the different phases of a breath hold. Before the training started, we did a test to see how long he could hold his breath by just doing what most people do, just take a breath and hold. Several professional freedivers and swimmers have drowned because they were swimming and holding the breath underwater when they were alone. That's why you should always have a friend there to rescue you if you get in any trouble. If you want to train breath holds and you don't have a friend, it is best to do it in the morning before you have breakfast. That's what I usually do because I don't have a friend who wants to go with me to the pool every day. The reason you should do it before you have breakfast is because when you eat, you fill up your stomach, so it presses against your lungs, and it gets much more uncomfortable to hold the breath with full lungs. Digesting food also uses a lot of oxygen. For me, I can hold about double the length if I have an empty stomach rather than having just eaten. Ideally, I say it should go 8 hours from when you eat to when you try to hold your breath to get the best result. Some professional divers even fast for days before competitions. Alex, I believe, ate about 4 hours before we did this training, but it should still be okay, even though it's not ideal. I've done this with a lot of people and you never know how long someone will hold in the end. Alex is a world champion Latin dancer. That is the type of dance you see in Dancing with the Stars. People who are fit, like professional athletes, tend to do a lot better on the test before we start the breath hold training. That is because professional athletes are used to training and pushing themselves, while most people will just go up as soon as they feel some discomfort. The reason you feel the need to breathe is because of the buildup of CO2 in the blood, not because of the lack of oxygen. Meaning most people feel the need to breathe long before they actually need to breathe because they're out of oxygen. They just don't have very high tolerance to CO2, and they don't know what's happening to the body when the buildup of CO2 starts making their diaphragm contract. And if you don't know what's happening, it can be pretty stressful and it is uncomfortable. You should never use them as an indicator of how long you can actually hold your breath. I've had a friend who had very strong contractions at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. He only had 2 contractions and then got out at 3 minutes and almost blacked out. Some people get lighter contractions early in the breath hold and they increase in discomfort and strength the longer they hold. And others get very strong contractions late in the breath hold. And some people don't even experience them at all. On the test, Alex managed to hold his breath for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I've done this with a lot of people and I think this is the longest someone have done on the test before we actually started the training. So let's go through exactly what we did. As I said earlier, I told him to preferably not eat anything 8 hours before the test. That was not an option since he trains hard every day and we filmed in the evening. So he ate about 4 hours before the breath hold. I believe that will have an impact on his performance. It is also ideal if he takes a couple of days free from training before we do this, as restitution from training uses energy. That was also not an option. Getting a good sleep so you're well rested will also enhance your performance. This is all things we do to prepare for the breath hold training. When we started the training, he did a test as you saw in the first clip. Just doing a breath hold test will make him more ready to do a second breath hold. If he just waited 3-4 minutes and tried again without any instructions, he would probably be able to do 10 to 15 seconds longer just because he already did one round. Like warming up for lifting weights. You can't lift the heaviest weights on the first round. You have to warm up first. After the test, he was to sit and lean against the wall of the pool and breathe for 2 minutes and try to relax. He was to breathe in for 3 to 4 seconds and out for 6 to 8 seconds. When he was breathing out, he should tighten his lips a bit, so he has to use some force to get the air out. Breathing like this, among other things, slows your heart rate, makes you relax more and use the oxygen more efficiently. If he starts to feel lightheaded, he should slow down his breathing, because getting lightheaded is an indication that he's hyperventilating. If you hyperventilate, you air out a lot of the CO2 in your body, but you don't increase the oxygen, and you can black out while holding the breath because your breathing reflex does not kick in. That's why you should never hyperventilate before holding your breath underwater. If you have tried the Wim Hof method, the breathing you do there is a type of hyperventilating and holding on empty lungs. If you do the guided breathing in Wim Hof's app, you can hear him say, if you get lightheaded, that's okay. And it is okay for Wim Hof's breathing exercises when you lay on your back in your bed. But there is a risk of blackout because of the delay of the breathing reflex. If you black out holding your breath on the bed, you will just start breathing again. If that happens once or twice, it's okay. Though remember, it's neither healthy nor good for your brain if you often hold the breath till you black out on your bed due to low oxygen levels. But if you're underwater, you will drown. And that is also the reason Wim Hof says never do the Wim Hof method underwater. After breathing for 2 minutes, Alex held his breath for about 2:30 again. He repeated this 3 times, and every round he could hold longer. In between the breath holds, I explained to him about the diaphragm contractions and reminded him to do a body scan to see that he was relaxed and didn't have any tension in the muscles. If he did, try to relax them. You should also try to not think, because thinking uses a lot of oxygen. It's better to just try to fall asleep, but don't actually fall asleep. When he got contractions, he should not try to force not having them, but just relax. They are not dangerous. They do use a little bit of oxygen, but if you're fighting them, that uses more oxygen. In the 4th round, that would be test plus 3 warm-up rounds, he held his breath for as long as you can see in this video. Normally, we would do another round, but when he came up after this round, I could see that he was a bit dizzy and we should not push more. For me, ideally I do 6 to 8 rounds for a maximum breath hold test. Let me know in the comments if you like these kind of videos with first time breath holds with new people, and have a nice day.